Before you buy a home in Katy, there are 5 things that you need to know. They're not always obvious, and they're not always what buyers expect. But understanding them before you buy could save you thousands of dollars and help you make a much better decision. Over the years, we've helped hundreds of families relocate to Katy and the surrounding areas. And we've learned something. The happiest home buyers are the most well informed home buyers. They're the ones who understood what life would actually be like before they bought. So let's get started. Need to know number 5. Right house, right neighborhood. One of the first things buyers tell us is we just want to live in Katy. And honestly, that's a little like saying, I want to live somewhere in Houston, Texas. Katy isn't one neighborhood, it's dozens, and they all feel completely different. Some neighborhoods are mature, big oak trees, established landscaping, quiet streets. Others are brand new. They're modern homes, brand new schools, brand new shopping, completely different vibe. Neither one's better, they're just simply different. Let's look at a few examples. If your ideal Saturday starts with a cup of coffee, then a walk around La Centera, followed by shopping and lunch, you're probably going to love Cinco Ranch. It's established, convenient, walkable in many areas. You've got multiple HEB stores, Trader Joe's, Costco, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, and dozens of restaurants within a couple minutes. Cinco Ranch just feels finished. It has a history, it has character. Now compare that to Ellison. Completely different. Ellison's still growing, new builders, retail, new schools, new phases, wide sidewalks, modern amenities. If you like being part of a growing community, it's a fantastic choice. But if you're looking for mature trees, you're probably not going to find them there yet. Then there's Cross Creek Ranch and Jordan Ranch over in Fulshear. The pace changes again. More open space, more lakes, miles of trails, beautiful scenery, a little quieter for many buyers, and that's exactly what they're looking for. Others would rather be closer to Interstate 10 because they drive to work every day. Neither answer is wrong. It's just about finding the right fit. Then you've got Firethorn, Cane Island, Tamaron, Centera, Young Ranch, Grand Lakes, Seven Meadows. Every community has its own personality, its own HOA, its own tax rate, its own commute, its own lifestyle. That's why we spend so much time asking buyers questions. Where do you work? Do you work from home? Do you have young kids, teenagers, dogs? Do you want to walk every evening? Would you rather have mature trees or a brand new home? Those answers usually determine the right neighborhood long before we even start looking at houses. Here's something that we always recommend when you're visiting Katy. Don't spend your entire day touring homes. Go experience the neighborhoods. Walk around La Centera. Shop at HEB. You'll actually use uh, the drive over to Costco. Visit. Make Mary Jo Peckham Park. Walking trails. Cross Creek Ranch. Sit outside at a coffee shop. Drive to work during rush hour. That's when you stop imagining living there and actually start experiencing what life will feel like because you're not just buying a house. You're choosing a place where you're going to spend the next 5, 10, maybe 20 years. And that's a much bigger decision than granite countertops or paint colors. Once you found the right neighborhood, the next surprise is usually financial because the price on the listing isn't always the amount that you'll actually need to bring to closing. Let's talk about closing costs. Need to know buyer closing cost number 4. Now that you found the right neighborhood, it's time to make an offer. And this is where a lot of buyers start focusing on one number, the purchase price. But here's the reality. The purchase price isn't the amount that you'll need to buy the home. One of the biggest surprises, especially for buyers moving to Texas, is closing costs. We hear it all the time. I saved my down payment. Great. That's an important step. But your down payment is only part of the money that you're going to need to bring to closing. Closing costs are made up of several different items. Your lender fees, the appraisal, the home inspection, title company fees, recording fees, escrow setup, and typically you'll prepay a portion of your homeowner's insurance and your property taxes at closing. None of those items are hidden. They're all disclosed, but you just never purchased a home before, or you're relocating from another state, and that can definitely come as a surprise. One question that we get asked almost every week is, how much are closing costs? And the honest answer is, it depends. It depends on the purchase price, it depends on your loan program, whether you're paying cash, whether you're financing, or if you're buying a resale home, new construction. That's why we always encourage buyers to have that conversation with their lender early, not the week before closing. A good lender should be able to provide a loan estimate that gives you a realistic picture of what you expect for cash to close. Here's another hyperlocal tip. In today's Katy area market, don't automatically assume that you're paying every dollar of your closing costs yourselves. Depending on market conditions, seller concessions may be negotiable. And if you're buying new construction, many builders offer incentives towards your closing costs. When buyers use their preferred lender, those incentives can sometimes save buyers thousands of dollars. Not every builder has the same incentives, and they change throughout the year, but it's always worth asking the question. This is one area with a knowledgeable lender really matters because the goal isn't just getting approved, it's understanding exactly how much money that you'll need before closing day arrives. Nobody likes surprises when they're already have packing boxes. And another thing buyers don't realize is that your closing disclosure arrives just a couple days before closing. That document breaks down every dollar. That changes hands. When you're already discussed those numbers with your lender, there shouldn't be any major surprises. Instead, it's just simply confirming what you've already planned for. One thing we always tell buyers is this: don't shop for a home based on only on the maximum amount your lender says that you can afford. Instead, leave yourself some breathing room. Buying a home comes with enough excitement without wondering if every dollar is already spoken for. Having a little cushion can make those first few months of home ownership much more enjoyable. The good news is closing costs are completely predictable. They aren't random, they aren't hidden, and they shouldn't catch you off guard. With the right planning and the right conversation before you go under contract, you'll know exactly what to expect. But even after you've planned for your down payment and your closing costs, there's another mistake that catches a lot of buyers off guard. You'll find the perfect home with a Katy address only to discover it's actually zoned to a completely different school district. Let's talk about that one next. Need to know number three. A Katy address does not always mean Katy ISD. One of the biggest surprises for buyers moving to our area is discovering that a Katy address doesn't automatically mean Katy ISD. In fact, one of the first things we verify when we're helping someone relocate, because a mailing address and a school district are two completely different things. Your mailing address is assigned to the U.S. Postal Service. Your school district is determined by attendance boundaries. These boundaries don't always match. We've shown homes with Katy addresses that were actually zoned to Lamar CISD. Others were zoned to Fort Bend ISD. And if you're searching farther east, you may even find homes served by Cy-Fair ISD. The mailing address doesn't tell the whole story. That's why we always tell buyers never assume, always verify. Even if you don't have children, school districts still matter. Why? Because they matter to future buyers. Homes owned to schools, what buyers want, often attract more interest than when it's time to sell. So even if the schools aren't important to you today, they could absolutely affect the home's value down the road. Another thing people don't realize is that school boundaries can change. Katy ISD, Lamar Consolidated, Fort Bend ISD continue to grow. New neighborhoods mean new schools, and sometimes attendance boundaries are adjusted to balance enrollment. So if one particular school is extremely important, don't rely on a real estate website. Verify it with the school district before you write the offer. Need to know number two. Katy area traffic is more than just rush hour traffic. Now let's talk about another surprise that catches a lot of relocation buyers off guard: traffic. And I'm not talking about Houston traffic. I'm talking about Katy traffic. Most people think traffic is all about morning and evening rush hour, but around Katy, there are several other things that affect your drive: school traffic, road construction, train crossings, weekend shopping, and rapid growth. One thing that you'll notice pretty quickly is that school traffic can completely change your commute, even if you don't have kids. During the school year, roads around elementary, junior, and high schools back up significantly during morning drop off and afternoon pickup. If your commute takes you along Spring Green Boulevard, Mason Road, Fry Road, FM 1463, Cane Island Parkway Drive, during the school year, it can look very different than it does during the summer. Then there's construction. Katy, Fulshear, Richmond continue to be among the fastest growing areas around Houston. New neighborhoods, new shopping centers, new schools, new road projects, all great things, but they also mean traffic patterns continue to evolve. And don't forget weekend traffic. Saturday afternoons around La Centera, Costco, Katy Mills, and the Grand Parkway retail corridor can get busy, not because there's something wrong, but because people love living here. Our best advice: don't just tour the home. Test your routine. Drive to work, drive to the grocery store, grab a cup of coffee, visit the park, go to dinner, experience the neighborhood during times that you're going to actually be using it, because you're not just buying a house, you're buying a life that comes with it. Now that we've talked about finding the right neighborhood, understanding closing costs and the right schools, and knowing what your commute will really look like. But here's one mistake that buyers more money than almost anything else: thinking that their monthly payment is just their mortgage. Let's break that down. Need to know: number one, your mortgage payment is only part of your monthly payment. We saved the biggest need to know for last, because this is the one that can affect your budget every single month. When buyers first start shopping, they will usually ask, "What will my mortgage payment be?" It's a fair question, but also the wrong question, because your mortgage is only one part of your monthly housing payment. Your actual housing monthly payment is made up of several pieces: your mortgage, your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, HOA dues, if your neighborhood has them, and sometimes additional assessments like MUD or a PID. Every one of those items affects what you'll actually pay each month, and around Katy, those numbers can vary a lot. Here's a simple example. Let's say that you're comparing two homes. Both are listed at 500,000. They look similar. Same size, same age, nice kitchens, great backyards. On paper, they seem identical, but one home is in an established neighborhood with a lower tax rate and modest HOA dues. The other one's in a newer master plan community with higher taxes, more amenities, and a larger HOA. Same purchase price, very different monthly payment sometimes, and the difference is several $100s a month. That's why we tell buyers, don't compare purchase prices, compare monthly ownership cost. One of the biggest reasons for the difference in property taxes, people ask all the time, "What's the property tax rate in Katy?" The truth is, there isn't one answer. Some homes are in Harris County, other are in Fort Bend County. Some are served by Katy ISD. Some are served by Lamar Consolidated, or Fort Bend ISD, or Cy-Fair. Then you have all the different MUD districts, different tax entities, different community assessments. That's why two homes just a couple miles apart can have very different property tax bills. Now let's talk about MUDs, because they sound scarier than what they really are. A municipal utility district helps pay for the infrastructure, things like water lines, sewer system, roads, storm drainage, parks. In a fast growing community, those improvements are to be built before the families move in. A MUD is one of the ways that that happens. It doesn't mean it's a bad neighborhood. In fact, many of the communities buyers love, like, is Ellison, Jordan Ranch, Cross Creek Ranch, Centera, Tameron. They are all developed using MUD financing. The important thing is simply understanding how it affects your monthly payment. Some neighborhoods also have a PID, Public Improvement District. Those assessments typically help fund community improvements like enhanced landscaping, entry monument parks, or other amenities. Not every neighborhood has one, but if it does, it's another reason that no two homes with the same purchase price may not have the same monthly cost. Then there are HOA dues, and honestly, HOAs get a bad reputation sometimes. But think about what they provide: community pools, walking trails, clubhouses, fitness centers, splash pads, pickleball courts, landscape entrance, neighborhood events. Some communities offer more amenities than others. Generally speaking, a neighborhood has higher HOA dues. That doesn't mean that the neighborhood's better or worse. It simply means you're paying for a different lifestyle. The important question is, will I actually use those amenities? Don't forget homeowners insurance. Insurance premiums across Houston's have changed quite a bit over the past few years. Roof age, construction type, deductibles, prior claims, all those factors can influence your premium. That's why we recommend shopping for insurance early instead of waiting until the last few days before closing. So here's the takeaway. Don't ask what's my mortgage payment. Ask instead, what will it cost me to own this home every month? Because that number determines whether a home really fits your budget. And that's really the purpose of this entire video. Not to scare you away from buying in Katy, because honestly, we think it's one of the best places to live in the Houston area. Outstanding neighborhoods, excellent parks, great restaurants, strong schools, beautiful master plan communities, and something for just about every lifestyle. We simply want you to make an informed decision because every one of the mistakes we talked about today is completely avoidable. If you know what questions to ask before you buy, if you're planning to move to Katy, Fulshear, Richmond, West Houston, we've put together a Katy buyer's guide that walks you through the entire process. You'll find the link in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing every week. We share honest, hyper-local information to help you make better real estate decisions. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.